Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Pastor Christian Magnell. It's good to be with you on this Monday morning. It is beautiful outside. It's windy, so you may hear the wind, you may hear the chimes behind me, but the humidity is definitely decreasing. I think this is the first day of fall, and so we're feeling that Florida weather we love and really moved to Florida for. It's brutal in July, but this time of year it starts getting real nice, and we're starting to feel that. So, anyways, I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. It was nice to see many of you at church yesterday. I won't be able to post videos tomorrow or Wednesday. So this morning what I'm going to do is reflect a bit on the topic of revenge from yesterday's sermon. And then I'm going to do a standalone, or two standalone topic. I didn't say it right. A two-part series on a standalone topic Thursday and Friday. That was more difficult than it should have been. A two-part standalone topic on Thursday and Friday. Anyway, I won't be here tomorrow and Wednesday, online, I should say, but I will be Thursday and Friday. Okay, if you are connecting with us right now live, you know that we're on Facebook. There's other ways to connect with us. You can watch this content on YouTube. You just search Beachside Media. And then our website, www.beach.church. So that's our website, beach.church. Really easy to find, www.beach.church. We have a ton of great content in there. You can watch the worship services live. You can watch the old worship services. And we're going to be building an app very soon. We're actually having a meeting Wednesday night to hash out this new program we've got. So we're going to have an app that will allow you greater content and much easier link to our website and our videos and things like that. Push notifications, so watch for that. Super easy to connect with us online through all these different ways. All right, the subject at hand. Yesterday we read Matthew chapter 4, verses 38 to 42. There we go. It's up on your screen. Let me reread these verses. This is Jesus speaking in the Sermon on the Mount. And here he is talking about retaliation or revenge. And he says this: "You've heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth." He seems to be quoting from, I think, Leviticus 24. 17 and 20, I believe. Leviticus 24, verses 17 and 20. And he says, "But I say to you, do not resist the one who's evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you." So again, that's Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 to 42 from the Sermon on the Mount. That's Jesus speaking. So yesterday in worship, we broke down what Jesus was saying. If you had an opportunity, please go back, watch the sermon. You don't have to do it right now, but this really builds on that. In essence, the idea that we looked at was this: as a disciple of Christ, you are now more concerned with following Christ than asserting your rights. And that is counterintuitive to how most of us function. Jesus told us to turn the other cheek, give her cloak, go 2 miles instead of 1. And that reference is a reference to a Roman practice in which they were allowed legally. And remember, Israel was under Roman rule. So Roman soldiers were allowed to conscript anybody to carry their gear for a mile. And so when Jesus says, if someone asks you to go 1 mile, go 2, he's making reference to a practice that would have been physically tiring and really would have been embarrassing for the Israeli citizen to have the authority of the Romans reasserted and reminded in this humiliating practice of making them carry their gear. He also says to give those who beg and to those who want to borrow from you. We broke down how this idea of non-resistance, that's really what Jesus is talking about, works when protecting the innocent or protected. And again, I encourage you to go back and watch the service from yesterday if you haven't already. For today, what I want to do is take this into the cyber realm. How does this idea of non-resistance play out in social media, emails, blogs, comment threads, and things like that? It deals with the need to be right. This deals with the need to be right. So where does that need come from? And how does it work its way into social media? And how does it connect at all? Does it connect? And how so does it connect with what Jesus is saying? How does our behavior in the online realm connect with what Jesus is saying? So first, let's talk about the need to be right. The need to be right is linked to our desire and our instinct to look after our own rights and privileges first. No one wants to believe they're wrong, right? No one wants to think they've got the wrong beliefs or the wrong way of looking at things. In fact, to admit you're wrong means needing to reframe how we view a particular subject. So if you admit you're wrong, you have to reframe or redo how you view that particular subject. It is a mark of education and maturity. In other words, the ability to admit you're wrong and to seek to understand something from a different perspective is a mark of maturity. The reality is that that's a lot easier said than done. It's much easier to say you're going to do that than to actually do it. To admit you're seeing something incorrectly, that is, and then try to see it from a different perspective, that's not our default setting. We see this in politics, don't we? Politicians will debate a matter one way when it suits them, and then they'll debate it another way, the complete opposite, when the old argument doesn't suit them, right? They will argue one thing, and they'll look you in the eye and they'll say, the sky is blue. But if it doesn't suit them to say that, they'll look you in the eye and say, no, the sky is red, even though you've got quotes of them saying just a few years earlier the sky was blue. And we see this over the impending nomination of a replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm not going to choose sides, but I do want to point out that the two political parties have completely flip-flopped over whether it's appropriate to nominate and vote on a replacement before we know who will win this election. And I've had people point out, well, it's different now or it's different then. Got it. But the reality is the two political parties are arguing basically opposite sides because it suits them to argue one over the other. They want to protect their position, so they craft arguments that may or may not be true. And the desire to be right plays out in social media. We simply cannot pass up a chance to tell someone our views on the First Amendment, the usage of face masks, our beliefs on protests versus riots, or what a senile fool we think the other party's candidate is, depending on whoever you're going to vote for. So think back to today's reading. Jesus says, don't resist an evil person. Turn the cheek. Go 2 miles. Give to those who beg or those who borrow. With that in mind, let me ask you this. Do you need to respond to every comment, every debate, every proclamation you see on Facebook or Twitter? In person, do you need to respond to every argument or statement that somebody makes? Why? Or is it possible that sometimes a refusal to fight may actually gain you more credibility to speak of peace in Jesus Christ in the long run? Is it possible that a failure to beat someone into submission verbally, that a failure to beat somebody into submission verbally in an argument might actually make it easier for them to hear of God's love from you? Are you more concerned with being right or the salvation of others? Have you confused political or societal truth with gospel truth? Have you confused those? Now, does this mean you should never debate? Of course not. What I'm asking you to do is to apply the words of Jesus Christ to every area of your life. Apply wisdom. I'm speaking as someone who likes to debate, who likes to argue. And this is tough. So speaking as someone who likes to argue and likes to debate, this is difficult to do. So I'm still learning. I'm learning my words and life can be way more effective when focused on the things of Christ. I'm learning that I don't have to win every argument, and surprisingly, not every Facebook comment needs a response from me. Who would have known that? Not every Facebook thread or comment needs my wisdom to be imparted to it. So I don't have this 100% figured out. What I do know is this. In this highly divided, highly anxious time, applying these words of Christ to social media and our in-person interactions just might bridge some gaps which allow you to talk about the love we have from God in Jesus Christ. And that should be, and I pray that it is, what your life is built upon. So that's what I have for today. I hope your week starts off well. I hope your Monday and this is the first day of fall, right? I believe it's the 21st, so that would be the first day of fall. I hope it kicks off well for you. Go to our website, beach.church. Look for us on YouTube under Beachside Media. Facebook page. Like, comment, share, whole 9 yards. You guys know the drill. Have a great day, and God bless you.